honored. And welcome everybody to The Lonely TARDIS, your journey through Time Lords and space where three wonderful companions eagerly await the Doctor to show up again. The Doctor has returned, and I would just like to say that it's so nice that we have returned. It feels like it's been years since we got together to record an episode. I think it was maybe last year during the lockdown stuff, but it is so great to be chatting with two of my most favoritist people in the entire multiverse. I'm Dolly, as you can see, joining above me. I'm still learning this. Sean Norton.
You're still learning how to point up. Hello.
Good point. There you go.
Dolly, you're doing great. That was a good point.
I'm trying. Thank you, Sean. And
yeah, it's so difficult to try and.
Marcus is the streaming expert amongst the
High
three
five.
of us. So there you go. Oh,
Aha!
look at that. Look at that. There you go. All right. Yeah, there you go. Marcus, the one, the only beer.
Hello.
Good to see you, beautiful, beautiful lads. How you guys doing? We're back.
We're back because they went and released an episode of Doctor Who.
Sean's mouth is full of.
He's munching something.
He's just.
We're
totally back. We're totally
chocolate post intermittent because Marcus was like, "Hey, listen, I want to do this way sooner, so let's go." So
yeah.
I was like, "Oh God!"
Hey, I know. I mean, I know it's late where you guys are, and on the East Coast, and I know Dali's a little more central, but I know it's not. It's I'm on West Coast time, so I just wanted to be nice for you, so you could go back to your
nice.
your lovely, loving families. My wife is working away in her office, so
that's what I love about you. You've always been so selfless.
I'm such a giver. I give and I give and I give, and I ask nothing in return except a good season of Doctor Who.
A good season of Doctor Who, which is what we're definitely.
Season of Doctor Who would be nice.
Definitely looking forward to. Well, a lot has happened over the last year in Who Land, which we will get to in a second here. Did want to kind of bring up for those that may not know, Marcus mentioned, a little while back of all the wildness that's going on with him. So, but we just wanted to, for everybody that doesn't know, for the swarms of the flux of fans that we have listening that may not know, Marcus, why don't you let us know let them know what's going on?
Well, in the ongoing Chibnall-inspired serial that is my health. I mean, obviously I had the heart attack. Then last year I had the double bypass. And, I thought, you know what? I've had 4 years now. I think I'm probably going to be good. And then 2021 came along and said, hold my pint. And back in August, I was diagnosed with stage 4 metastatic prostate cancer. Which is not fun. Unfortunately, it's incurable. It is terminal. My initial prognosis scared the bejesus out of me when they said 3 to 6 months. And then because they saw the tests, and then they got me on some treatment, super sharpish. And the great news is that I've responded to, my body's responded to the treatment. So, my numbers are down, the PSA numbers, which are the prostate cancer. So it's like prostate-specific antigens, I think they're called. And normally in a man my age, with, it should be about 2, and mine was 500. So it was like, oh. And then they took biopsies of my prostate, 12 of them, and all 12 came back riddled with cancer. It's the first time I've absolutely aced any test in my life. And then, I've got a great doctor, great oncologist, who's put me on a couple of different regimens, and my diet's been changed up a little. I'm working out a lot more, and that PSA has come down. It halved, and then it went from 505, I think it was, to about 230, then down to 38, and now it's down to 1.8.
Wow!
Which is, amazing,
fantastic.
Unfortunately, too late for me because it's in my bones, it's in my ribs, my sternum, my lower spine, and my pelvis. which is why I'm about to start bone strengthening medication. And I'm going to be here for as long as I can. The goal is I'm going to fight until the next amazing treatment comes along, because the last treatment, or the treatment I'm on right now, didn't even exist 2 years ago. Wow. So it only came on the market at the end of 2019. So yeah, I mean, I have some goals still to come, and one of them is to enjoy a season of Doctor Who. So I might have to live for another 20 years for that one, given the way things are going. So what I will say is, if you are over the age of 40, don't wait until you're 50 to get your prostate checked if you are a man. It's a hormonal based cancer. It's the male equivalent, if you will, of breast cancer. It doesn't get perhaps as much of the press as breast cancer does, which is also another horrific, version of this disease. So get your prostate checked, get your PSA checked. Now, if you have a family member, an immediate family member who's had cancer, or there's a history of it in your family, start getting your PSA and your prostate checked at 30, not 40. Because if I'd have caught this 2 years ago, and I've had it for, it's been in my system for about 7 years, they reckon. If I'd have caught it as close as 2 years ago, we'd have cured it. But 'tis what it is. So I'm just going to be around pissing people off until I'm ready to regenerate, and I will do it in style. So there you go.
Well, we're happy you're obviously happy that you're with us. We're pulling for you. We're going to give you all the strength and support that you need, and then we know you've got plenty more fuel in the tank, and plenty more to keep us entertained with. And
I'm on testosterone suppressant. I might not be as angry as I used to be.
I
might be nice now. I might say nice things about Chibnall.
Nice
no, I'm not delusional. I'm not crazy. So
who are you at that point, though? Your whole identity.
Exactly. I have no identity at all.
Well, we do have. Thank you again, Marcus, for letting us know again. For a few of the folks that didn't know. We love Marcus, and
I want to say thank you for all the messages. I mean, so many people have reached out, and with supporting messages and offers of things, and I'm very, very lucky to have a great support system. So. When things get messy, at some point they will, then I will be taking people up on offers, and then I'll have some fun, because I'm dying. You have to do this for me now.
Well, let's move on to
let's go for cheerful shit. Come on, I'm not dead yet.
Cheerful shit. Here is something that many do consider cheerful. Chris Chibnall is officially leaving, and Russell T Davies is coming back to Doctor Who. The once and future king. The once king is the future king of Doctor Who. That news was announced about a few weeks ago, just before they debuted the coming info of the season. What are your guys' thoughts?
Well, I'm going to go first, because I may die before the end of the episode.
If I ramble,
I've got this gallows humor thing going on now. Anybody pisses me off, I'm gonna throw out the cancer card. No. Obviously, fantastic that RTJ is back. RTD rather, not RTJ. RTD is back. Now this is tied in, and this is an announcement that was made yesterday or the day before. It's tied into quite an interesting announcement with regards to how Doctor Who season 14 is going to be produced, because Bad Wolf Studios, which is the studio that was formed by I'm trying to remember their names. Oh crap, brain is not working. Hang on. Basically, it's Bad Wolf, obviously named after Bad Wolf from season 1. Julie Gardner and I think Julie Tranter, the two execs who basically left the BBC after producing the first couple of the Russell T Davies run of Doctor Who, went off to form their own production company, and have done a bunch of other stuff for the BBC in particular. Now they are going to take over with regards to That's it. Julie Gardner and Jane Tranter. There you go. Thank you, Dally, who just Sean, sorry.
Sean.
Who just
He's the
wow, I'm just
private
going
jet.
email now. Cuckoo for Cocoa Buffs.
You've had a lot of energy pent up.
The cool thing is that these buggers get who. They know it. They're the ones who gave us Sarah Jane Adventures. They're the ones who gave us Torchwood. And they're the ones who are now going to be taking charge of the creative destiny of Doctor Who. A lot of people are saying, well, the BBC's kind of rolled over on this because they've given up 40% of the revenue, the commercial revenue on Doctor Who per 10 episodes. But honestly, I think it's a great thing because the BBC, given its current situation where budgets are tightened, it's still got a conservative government that is trying to wind it down and make it take ads and all this other stuff. This is the way to safeguard Doctor Who's future. We will see more shows. They will go the Disney Plus route, I think, with a lot of things where we will see more spin-offs. There's a rumor that this production company is actually about to be taken over by Sony, which opens up a whole new gamut of things with regards to what we could expect from Doctor Who. I mean, really, it could be quite interesting. My only issue is that Sony doesn't have a decent streaming service. But I think it's great. I mean, Russell T. Davies has his problems. We know that. He likes to go off and faff around, give us storylines that never finish, or just finish with a button or a wave of a sonic screwdriver.
True. I remember.
But at least his shows were entertaining. It also helped that he had 2 excellent doctors. And he also had a stable of great writers who came in and did amazing stuff. So I think it's all positive. I think it's absolutely positive. Sure. And I'm so looking forward to seeing. And I actually thought it wasn't going to happen for a while, but the rumor is that there's not even any specials anymore. This run of Flux is it, and we're getting Regeneration at Christmas. I mean, they are moving ahead like Chibnall's out the door, and I think that's tied into something else that's happened when the new episode premiered. But we can talk about that in a second.
I think she's getting 3 next year.
Is it 3? So there is 3 next year. Okay.
Yeah. So I think it's.
I mean, that was my understanding too, but unless they, she's already filmed her regeneration scene.
Yeah.
So unless they really plowed through and did these 6 episodes and 3 specials, I don't know. Anyway,
the floor is yours. Sean, what do you feel about this change?
Well, I think we're all pretty established on record that we are not particularly big fans of the Chibi era.
We went in kind of excited. We're like, oh, Chibnall is
well.
I want to say excited, but we were
first
open.
female doctor. Okay. We were.
Chibnall gave me cancer.
There you go.
His writing was so bad, my prostate decided to kill me.
But you want that on a T-shirt? I can get you a mug.
There you go. But no, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Let's just have a little back and forth.
No. I mean, I thought we went in like a little bit. I don't want to say excited, but we were optimistic. It felt like it when he took over. Yeah. We had such a bad taste in our mouth from what Moffat ended up doing. Apart from those last, maybe, the last mainline Capaldi episodes, not the specials. I think there were a couple good ones there, but Chibi's gone.
No, I mean, as underwhelming as his first season was, it was that timeless child stuff that I just can't. I can't get over it. I can't get over it. And think of it, is on this Flux season 2, and it's already being hinted. We'll get into it in the episode, but it's already being hinted at by the villain and stuff like that. And it's just like, you combine that with the underwhelming writing, you combine that with what I feel like is squandering the first female doctor and this whole moment in time around this and not giving Jodie a lot of stuff to work with. Goodbye. Like, I get it, you're a fan. But I think you've made terrible decisions with the narratives, with the franchise, with the lore. So, finish your Flux, do your specials, and get the hell out.
Flux off.
Get the hell out. Like, Flux off. Yeah. As for Russell T. Davies, I don't know. I have some really favorite episodes from his era. Really favorite. But there were some real clunkers too. I mean, really, really
Yeah.
clunky stuff. And to Marcus's point, his highest highs are also some weird lows too, and he has some really interesting weaknesses. But he's had a long time away from the franchise, and he's had a
True.
long time to do other things, to grow as a writer, to grow as a showrunner. This production company having the kind of control they have, I think we can't really tell just how much that could have an impact on the creative process without really the BBC and everything like that having as much say as they have up to this point. And I actually really liked a quote I read by him this weekend where he was like, I think I was just he was the king of the universe. Like he had the interconnected thing going with Who, Torchwood, Sarah Jane, and a bunch whatever else he was doing. He said he was like, I was 10 years too early, wasn't I? And he was. Like he built out the franchise in a way that at the time we didn't see that anywhere else. I think that predated the CW superhero stuff. I think it definitely predated the MCU. So it's
yeah.
I think if he really does have the wherewithal and the creative freedom and the budget to really like start doing this, like Marcus was saying, and start not only the core show, but then the spin-offs and the Torchwood style stuff and whatever else, it's really, really promising. Really
Bring
promising.
Torchwood back. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm down for some more Torchwood. I mean, John Barrowman, I mean, yes, there's been this thing where he was faffing around on set 10, 15 years ago. And now people are getting upset because obviously there's also been, Noel Clarke has been outed as a serial abuser, unfortunately, Mickey Smith. But I'm not talking about bringing Mickey Smith back. I mean, that guy's done. But my understanding with regards to what John Barrowman did, it's very sort of like British showbiz kind of lovey type thing. And once he was told to behave, he did behave. He didn't. And he strikes me as a sort of person or character who is like, he'll hug everybody, he'll give everybody a kiss on the cheek and whatever. And but if people aren't open to that, he will back the fuck off and be respectful. Oh, sorry, are we swearing?
No, we can do it. That's fine. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I think it comes down to who they cast. I mean, the beauty is we had Eccleston and we had Tennant, and Billy Piper. Eyes were rolled, especially by somebody like me who only knew Billy Piper as this teenage pop singer like Ashley Simpson back from the mid-90s. And to be fair, she made Rose her own, and it really did work in the chemistry, especially with Tennant. And then after that, I mean, the cast of characters that he added to the show, Donna Noble, her family, I mean, everything really worked. And then the characters that you had in Torchwood, I mean, and Sarah Jane. I mean, I don't like shows with kids in them, but I like the Sarah Jane Adventures because none of those kids are precocious and annoying twats. It's great. I mean, it's unheard of. I mean, I think it's against the law in America to have a show where all the kids are actually decent and likable. So yeah, it's going to come down to the casting, and I really hope they have somebody good. And look, it doesn't have to be a white guy. It doesn't have to be a guy. I mean, would I like to see it return to it being a male role model that doesn't kill? In this day and age, I would, but that's my own personal preference. Would it be tough for a female to come along after what's happened with Jodie? And, she'd certainly have better scripts this time round. But I think, Jodie has struggled as best she can to, with the scripts that she's can and delivered some good performances, and tried her best. But, she's been hamstrung. So, maybe that goes away for a 3 or 4 year period. And they bring in, who knows? They bring back Romana. They bring back Leela or something like that.
With the idea, now I'll hop in here real quick. The idea of when Russell T Davies kind of building out this bigger Whoverse, Whoniverse, whatever it's called. I think you can start to bring in some of those characters in their own series. I would love to see a Dalek series all on its own, right? A limited Dalek series about whatever's going on. So I think there are opportunities with with Davies that because he did it before. I think he's well capable of doing it again. And then that's going to afford him the capability to, bring in some of these older characters from the series history. Again, all depends what happens with this Timeless Child stuff, which left that stink on there. But yeah, Madame Vastra. Oh God, yeah. Well, anyways, I think we're optimistic of Davies Davis coming back. Is it Davis or Davies? I can't remember.
Davies.
But Davies. Okay.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's hard not to
Davis, isn't it?
Davis. Davies.
No, it's Davis. He's a
Davis.
Look, we don't say Davies.
I've only ever heard Davies. Is it really Davis?
It's Davis. Russell T. Davis.
Maybe I've only ever heard.
Look, he's a Swansea boy.
He's Welsh.
Born and raised.
Our own Welshman would know.
Yeah, it's Davis. Yeah. Trust me, mate.
I will agree with you.
It's only in America I've heard the Davies thing. It really is. It's like Anthony and Anthony. In Britain, it's Anthony. I mean, it's very strange. Two countries separated by a common language. But yeah, it's Russell T. Davis.
Okay. Yeah, I'm optimistic. I think as much as we all were just burned out on Moffat at the end, which we've talked about too. Like,
yeah.
Man, I wouldn't give to have had Moffat longer instead of any Chibs. Like, I think Moffat would have killed it with Jodie. We would have had some stuff we weren't happy about, but compared to this, it'll be nice. Maybe Moffat will come back and do a couple one-offs with Davies. Their partnership, Midnight, Girl in the Fireplace, Blink, not Midnight, sorry, but Girl in the Fireplace and Blink, let's go. Let's get the band back together.
Yeah, I'm in total agreement. I mean, look, Chib will even come back and write an episode, but he can't run it. And I mean, there's been no mention of this Timeless Child thing so far in the first episode, and long may that continue.
So here's the segue point. Up until now, Chibnall has been doing these one-off episodes all the way throughout, for the first 2 years of his tenure. Now he actually gets to flush out a story with Flux. This season of Doctor Who is going to be 6 episodes long. It's titled Flux, which is, I think, that's the first time they've actually given it a full name like that, at least in modern Who.
Key because the last one was the Key to Time, wasn't it? In Old Who.
In Old Who, exactly. So this is Flux. It's going to be 6 episodes. Episode 1 just aired. I liked the idea of the back-to-back episodes that Moffat did with Capaldi. I thought those were actually kind of well done in some respects. So to see a full season of something, I think could be kind of interesting. Again, maybe this will give Chibs the opportunity to actually tell a full story. But I don't know how well it played off in this first episode, the Halloween Apocalypse.
It was a flux and mess, Dolly.
Flux.
There was a lot of fluxing content in that one episode, wasn't there?
Yeah. So just a super quick recap of the first episode. Whole lot of characters. We don't know what the flux is, but the Doctor's afraid of it. That's basically because that's all that kind of happens. We don't know. The universe is being eaten alive. That's it. We don't know anything else. And
can we do every episode, Dolly? Can we do every recap for the rest of this 5-episode season with just one sentence where you're just like, "There's a flux. Doctor doesn't know what it is, and she's scared. Let's go. Boom." Oh my God, that was perfect. It was great.
That's what it is. That's what this first episode is.
Companions, don't talk about dog aliens. There's a flux.
Nothing.
Scared. All right, cool.
What the flux? No, I'm gonna hop in with. I was not impressed with this first episode, from the standpoint of, cool. I did like the variety of characters, but and where their stories could potentially go, but there was no setup to any of their stories, and there's no way that any of these characters feel like they belong to this overall Flux story. You have a guy in like the 1800s. You have the lady who somehow knows the Doctor. You have so-and-so. You have the dog. You have whatever, Chewbacca. You have future stuff. You have Grey Worm from Game of Thrones floating out there. None of these are linked together in any way, and there's barely even, it feels like there's barely even flux involved in these. And so I'm curious what your guys' thoughts are, because I don't think it was a good setup.
I think, just really quick, and I'll let Marcus go. I think that I agree that it was a they threw all the flux into this, and apparently we haven't even seen all that's coming. Like, there's a lot.
Yeah. Okay.
I get the sense this is something that it's almost like they made TV to binge, but they're splitting it out by 6 weeks. Like, I think that this is going to be more enjoyable. We're going to watch it every week to do this, but I get the sense that if we waited and watched it in chunks of 3 or 4 or even the whole thing, it's probably going to flow better. Because right now this was 13 episodes worth of setup in one shot.
Yeah.
And it was a lot. It was a lot. It was hard to follow. It was a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And it wouldn't surprise me at this point if every episode after this takes one of the things that they set up and then solves that while introducing something else, and then solves that the next episode, and then by the end it's all wrapped up. If Jibs can wrap it up.
So I think the next episode is a Sontaran focused one.
Mm-hmm.
So we saw the Sontarans, and it's
which, by the way,
it's called the
I am
Sontaran
so
War.
happy to see the Sontarans back. It was
great.
I'm so happy to see that they've spent some money on multiple Sontaran masks.
Yeah, exactly.
So they all don't look like the one friggin' Sontaran guy. I mean, just give them. I know they're a clone race, but at least give them a little bit of different.
And they did the tongue thing. It was great.
Yes. Oh gosh.
I will say one thing about Chibs. He's good at old monsters, man. Like, he is good at bringing old Who monsters back.
If only that Sontaran was Strax. No, if only it was Strax.
I think again, Vastra, Strax. I mean,
Jenny.
That would be a great couple of specials. Get those actors back, Victorian London, solving some crimes. That would be great.
He seems to be really intent on acting like the Moffat era didn't happen. So,
and hopefully the Chibnall era didn't happen. I'd actually think the Chibnall era not happening, and then there are so many parts of the Moffat era I'd love to see, obviously, back. I mean, Clara overstayed her welcome. We discussed this, but there's a lot. I mean, there's a lot more good in the Moffat era than there has been in the Chibs era.
Yeah.
Anyway, so is it my turn?
Yes, it is.
It's freestyle.
So I kind of got it. I watched the show. I watched it twice, in fact. I watched it in the morning when it went live for the first time. It was, same as the UK. And then I watched it again when it aired 6 hours later on AMC Plus. And I will say, Doctor Who in 4K, because we got a new 4K TV. Because I was died. I was died after 11 years. So it's like I was watching it through the AMC app, and I was like,
it's gorgeous.
It is gorgeous. It is gorgeous. I mean, you can see that they put some money into the VFX for this season. So yeah, I mean, it starts off helter skelter, and it does seem like Chibnall is just going like this. I got World War II, Bush. Oh, some guy watching the end of the universe over there, Bush. What can we house that? The Sontarans, and somebody from the future, and somebody from the Doctor's future, and then some bird who gets touched by a weeping angel, and the dog. Yeah, the dog things. I mean, well-intentioned as they are, I love the idea of a race man's best friend of dogs that actually want to come and protect us. That
was pretty
great.
Cool, actually. Yeah.
I'm a dog person anyway. Unfortunately, every time I looked at that dog, I saw John Candy from Spaceballs.
yes, me too.
Barf.
Barf. Yep.
I mean, it was the VFX budget for that kind of tricky. But again, I mean, I could see the intent behind it. I thought Dan, the new companion, got potential. Nice, comes across as a nice guy. The whole.
I like his angle too, which he loves his city, and he plays the sort of the.
Not only does he love his city.
There you go. He's talking about footy.
He loves his team because if you go in, when they're going to the house, you see the Liverpool jersey, you see the scarf, you see a little poster, and literally the house is on Anfield Road, which is the road leading into stadium, and you see Anfield in the back. And then I will say some of the best writing from Chibnall when the doctor's saying it's like, oh yeah, I saw I've been to the Barcelona match 3 times, or 11 times, which is Barcelona 0, Liverpool 4. From the European Cup a couple of years ago.
11 times. That's pretty funny.
Yeah. And she was like, I was a ball boy for Trent once. Trent Alexander-Arnold, who is our right back. So, yeah, I mean, from that perspective, that fan service got a big tick from me. But, yeah, I like the actor anyway. I mean, I've seen a lot of his stand-up, and I've seen I've seen him on Graham Norton show and stuff like that. He's very funny. My wife had some issues with his accent, trying to understand him.
Kind of a little bit too.
So between the Yorkshire and the the Sheffield and the Liverpool accents, it's makes you yearn for a Welsh accent, really, doesn't it? But yeah, I just
this guy.
I think it's because I've been watching a lot of binge stuff during the pandemic. Everything, almost everything was binged. I mean, Loki, Mandalorian, Falcon and Winter Soldier, all these different shows. I can see as it's exactly as you said, Sean. It's the setup for 6 episodes that the next 5 episodes will be paying off 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we've got to that last episode, and nothing will be tied up because it's not the way it works with Doctor Who. But I got to say, I mean, some of the writing abysmal. The chemistry between Yaz and the Doctor, as in this team who've been often doing stuff, and while they've been away off our screens, I kind of dug it. I liked it. I mean,
really,
well, I did. It harkened back to again Rose and the Doctor, or the stuff that is done off screen when they're not on air, where they've been. Was that opening with the handcuffs and the dangling and stuff didn't feel that great, but it's just, I mean, I'm not saying I loved the episode, or even I'm not sure if I liked the episode, but I got the episode. Does that make sense? I got what they were trying to do, and my only worry is that with the way they're doing this, and as Sean said, if we are into we get to 5 episodes in and we watch all 5 back to back before watching that final episode, and then everything clicks into place. Great. But it does seem like a very wild and crazy starting episode where everything, dare I say it, is in flux. But interestingly, so apparently a lot of people are not very happy with Doctor Who anyway.
Yeah.
Well, wait, hold on.
You were going to mention.
Time out. One thing I want to discuss first. So, you liked the interaction with Yaz and the Doctor? You thought that was
I thought the chemistry was there. I'm not, like I said, some of it felt a little forced, and some of the lines were cheesy to the extreme, but they did feel more like people who were comfortable with each other, who had each other's back, perhaps way more so than in the last 2 seasons, where it felt like almost 4 strangers who were just thrown together, and there didn't seem to be that chemistry. At least there was a hint. I'm not saying it was at the same level as the Doctor and Donna, or the same level as Rose and the Doctor, or even Captain Jack and the Doctor. I mean, there wasn't that ease of it, but it did seem like a vast improvement over what we've been through the last 2 seasons.
I wanted that, but I didn't feel it. I just, like you said, it felt forced in a lot of scenes. It felt a little cheesy in a lot of scenes. Maybe my problem with it more is it feels like we're retreading the same ground a 3rd season in, where Yaz is supposed to, like, I assume they're supposed to be best friends. They've been on many adventures, not before the group left and then after they left. But we're retreading the same old ground. It's like, well, what are you lying about? Nothing. Everything's fine. I know you're lying. No, I'm not. what's going on with you? Stop asking me. And it's like, guys, we've done this 3 seasons in a row. Like, we really can't explore new things in this relationship. Like,
well, this has been going on for longer than that. I mean, this has been going on.
It has,
since, the Doctor Lies has been a staple for such a long time.
But this one is way more direct. It's
That's
not
because
like
you hate women.
God damn it. My face is on this.
He doesn't hate
No,
women.
but
He doesn't hate women.
not-
He loves
it's
women.
not-
He thinks every home should have one.
What, like a fucking vacuum? Jesus Christ.
It's so good to have us all back together. bro.
I am teasing. I am teasing.
I
Sean is
just-
a wonderful man.
It's even more jarring when Dan came in because Dan,
Dan.
Yeah.
because she lacks. I don't know if it's the direction. I don't know if it's the character, the act, whatever. She lacks charisma, and she's just not that likable. And oh god, in this current dynamic, it's just not like. And then he comes in, and he's just a breath of fresh air, like this whirlwind. This, like you were saying, this likable guy, this down to earth dude, and he's funny, and he's got tons of charisma. And it's just so jarring. And then she's there in the middle, and the doctor's kind of doing that whole like, I'm clearly in distress, but everything's fine, except I'm a terrible liar for some reason now. And I don't know. I really hoped by getting the TARDIS crew shrunk down to just the two of them, and then bringing on this third guy. I don't know. I guess I just hoped for a better dynamic, and so far I'm not feeling it with Yaz. And I was also really disappointed that she was the one that stuck around because I always thought she was the weakest link of all the new characters. I always thought she was sort of
I think we all agreed there.
And the worst written. Like, oh, I'm a police officer, except I'm not, and I'm never going to talk about that again. And my whole character arc is basically just following the doctor around and asking if she's okay and telling everybody we're buds. So I don't know. I
did like how the doctor trusted her to go off and free Dan from his thing, and you can see where there was some training, there was trust there, and that hinted on it. That that intro sequence again, where it was like, oh, do you remember the training thing we did X, Y, and Z? Okay, that hints at something else. I mean, the execution of that intro sequence not good, but rough, the whole she comes in, assesses the situation, looks at Dan's cage, and looks at it and says, I can see at least 6 booby traps right now, so bear with me. Boom, boom, boom. And she's very competent, and that's where she perhaps gets her chance to shine. And she had a couple of those, I think, in previous episodes, but never anything outstanding. And I'm hoping that she gets a chance to shine. She gets a couple of those, more of those moments as we carry on, through the season, where she's only got Dan with her and the doctor, and it's not 2 other people. And there's a little spikiness there. She also is as if she feels kind of jealous of him. I'm wondering if that's going to be the big play this season. But yeah, I've got nothing against the actress. I think again she's been hamstrung by some shitty writing.
Oh yeah.
So I think she's trying her best. But John Bishop as Dan is somebody. You look up some of his stuff. He's very easygoing. He's very charismatic. I mean, it's basically John Bishop playing. He's playing John Bishop. I mean, he's playing himself, but they renamed him Dan. So, I mean, it's one of it's almost it's kind of like Catherine Tate when they brought Catherine Tate in, and it's funny when they bring somebody who is viewed more as a comedian, they tend to do really well. Because they have this natural likability.
True, you're right.
Was
it
the other thing? I mean, Graham last time out. I mean, Bradley, what's his face? Bradley Walsh. I mean, he was a TV presenter, comedian. And again, he had this ease in front of the camera, and it wasn't him, like I said, playing a character that was a million miles away from himself. And I think that's comforting to people, and it does work because these people are so used to just being friendly on TV and being on chat shows and having their own primetime shows and specials and stand-up shows. And I think it's tough for Mandip Gill, who she's been doing this for 4 years now, and she's didn't do anything major before. Will she do something after this? Has she had a chance to go off and do anything else? That's the tough thing. I mean, she's been thrown in at the deep end by a writer who is not that freaking good.
Yeah, and I think that's a good summary of my my issues with it. It just didn't click for me yet with them. I like that they gave them, there's lore there if anybody ever wants to explore it, and audiobooks or written books or whatever. Their bond is obviously there. I just think that the writing around it is weak, and I think that it's repetitive now for the last couple of times we've seen them, and I don't know. I just wish it was stronger all around, but maybe it will be. Maybe the next 4 or 5 episodes will be redemption for her character, and it'll give us reasons to care about her more than we have. So
yeah.
Sorry, Marcus, you were going to transition.
Okay, so I was going to share that the viewing numbers. I mean, basically, if Chibnall wasn't already on his way out, by when the viewing numbers for the season premiere dropped, he'd be on his way out like a failing sports team manager. So let's recap. When Jodie debuted, season 11, 8.2 million viewers. This is the UK. This is the UK. This is all first views, and I think they adjust it for 24 hours afterwards for iPlayer, which is the BBC service you can get in the UK. Season 12, 4.88 million, which was almost a 50% drop. This time around, 4.43, the lowest season premiere numbers since Who Came Back. Probably still higher than perhaps some of the episodes at the end of the Sylvester McCoy era, but for a flagship show like Doctor Who, that is quite expensive to produce. That would also, I think, the writing's been on the wall, which is, with regards to Chibnall and the response, and that's why they've signed this deal with Bad Wolf. I mean, it's like I said before, it's so tough on Jodie Whittaker. My wife still can't stand her. It's the accent more than anything. The Sheffield accent is kind of tough, but yeah, I think she's struggling, as best she can. I was going to say manfully, but I realized that's probably not appropriate. But she's doing the best she can, and she's a damn fine actress. But it's the writings. I think the writing's been on the wall, and I think Chibnall would have been pushed out long. He was probably given the chance to go finish up the season, go rather than being pushed. Because at one point it was just Jodie who was going. Remember, Chibnall was going to stay around.
Right. That was the original talk. Yeah.
And that terrified us because his casting. So, yeah, I mean, I will say that while Flux was a lot of shit going on, there have been 20 episodes. No, that's 18 episodes from Chris Chibnall. Way worse than Flux.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
I will say, even with all that, the kitchen sink and no idea where it's going or hard to follow, it is still probably one of the best ones that he's done.
I mean, if you just take yourself out of it, and
for the first time in a long time, especially with Chibnall, I am actually interested in watching the next episode because there were enough the great cliffhanger at the end, a lot of little loose threads, which I don't know where they're going, but that's kind of cool in a way. And so, yeah, it's the first time in a long time that I'm actively excited and looking forward to watching the next episode because I want to know where the story goes.
And it was still a better season premiere than Spyfall.
Spyfall, yeah.
Spyfall,
yeah, it was
atrocious.
I thought we liked parts of Spyfall. Maybe I just like.
I think maybe there were parts that we liked, but not.
That season started low and went just lower and lower. I mean, I think the last episode I really enjoyed was the Rosa Parks episode. And that was episode 3 of Chibnall's season.
Didn't we? We're all becoming pudding brains with age, but didn't we like the one with the Renegade Doctor before we found out later that it was the Timeless Child crazy bullshit? Like, didn't we enjoy that? We're like, wow, okay, we're intrigued. Where's this going to go?
I think,
and then everything that came after it went.
Yeah.
We were intrigued, but I mean, everything. It's like I said, everything just went tits up after that. Yeah. I mean, it's I mean, as I've said, it said to you in messages via IM and DM. This is the first time that I have not rewatched a season of Doctor Who or two seasons of Doctor Who after they first aired.
Yeah.
I mean, the in the build up to the season premiere, BBC America does its usual thing of every frigging Doctor Who. The Doctor Who takeover starts. The first time around it started 48 hours before, and it had all and then they had the build up to Matt Smith or whatever it was. Now they've got so many episodes; they're starting like almost a week before, and that's great. But and I saw some great episodes. But then, as soon as the Chibnall episodes came on, I could just feel my soul being sucked out of me, like a Dementor on Harry Potter.
No, it's the same for me.
Well, I'll leave you guys with one question here before we wrap up. The Swarm, the character that
we should probably talk about the overarching big bad, right?
Yeah, that's basically it. Who is the Swarm? Because they make it a point to say, "I'm a person from your past. I'm somebody from your past."
So I know what the Swarm is. It's the Swarm is basically Galactus from Fantastic Four and the Silver Surfer.
I'd love it.
It's basically that they basically said, "Hey, Fox, I know you don't have this franchise anymore. Do you have any of that VFX left over? It looks nice and shitty. Can we steal?"
Oh no, that's the bad movie version. Oh,
that's the bad movie.
No, that's the bad one.
Sean, who do you think the Swarm is, or what do you think the Swarm is? Swarm, I should say, not the Swarm. Swarm.
I think it's. I don't know exactly, but I think it's going to be Chibi's attempt to get vindication for his bullshit timeless child thing that I'm on.
I do also think it's sort of
more than anything in my entire, more than all the bad Davy stuff, more than the weird episode with the fat guy, more than it is the worst thing, and it drives me so crazy, and I can't stand it. I can't stand it, and I'm pretty sure this guy and his sister are from whatever Hartnell Who, because they've danced across the universe and they've had countless battles, and they did such a good job wiping me out of your memory entirely, but I remember everything about you, and it's just like, oh Christ. Oh, and I think there was a hint of the Division or something too, which I didn't even remember until I looked it up, which apparently the Renegade Doctor that we met was a part of in last season.
Oh, okay.
It's coming back. He's going to do some timeless child bullshit, and I liked the design. I thought it was menacing. I thought it was cool. And they started talking, and in any other Who, that conversation would have been fucking brilliant, and it would have been compelling, and it would have intrigued us, and we would have been like, how could there be something she doesn't remember? What's going on? Is it from like any time from 4 to 9? What is this? But now it's just like, oh right, he ripped a hole in continuity the size of the universe, and he could pluck a doctor from any time and anywhere and throw them in, and it doesn't matter. So now I'm just like, whatever. I just hope the ride to get there is cool, because this is going to be some timeless child crap, and I hate it. I'm so negative. I'm so negative, but I hate it.
I think the Swarm is probably going to be the equivalent of the aggressive chicken in Family Guy that turns up and fights Peter Griffin.
I like that idea.
Where they just roll across the screen fighting the whole time. I will say that after watching the character and his sister, I was struck that they looked like, those 1960s Christmas tree ornaments, the baubles with the glitter on and the shiny. Yep. That's what they look like to me. So I'm just wondering if some sort of schism opened up in the TARDIS, 2 of the Doctors' Christmas tree baubles from the Hartnell era fell into it, became sentient, evolved, and were really pissed that they were left behind or something, or they weren't polished, and that's what we're going to have. Either that, or it's the timeless child's great-granddad.
I like that plot a lot better.
Yep.
Rogue Renegade pissed for revenge Christmas ornaments. Oh man.
I am hopeful. I'm hopeful that it somehow resets the timeless child and works its way out of uses these 6 episodes to just wipe out the timeless child, and we'll see.
I just want to get to the end of the specials and as the regeneration thing starts, somebody walks up to the TARDIS, presses Control Alt Delete.
Oh gosh, that'd be
the
great.
entire reboot system. Yes, no, yes.
That's something that I had been kind of roughly messaging with some friends here and there was
how do you roughly message?
I like that, roughly message.
How do you roughly message?
I'm not saying
you said you were roughly messaging with them. How do you do that? It's like, message me back, or I'm going to throw sandpaper at you. What is roughly messaging?
I'm very horrible at messaging. No. Do you think it could be? How do you feel about a complete reboot of Doctor Who? Like if they said, you know what, we're just going to start from the beginning. Boop. Everything before this is wiped out. Here is the first Doctor, whoever it is.
Oh, kind of like a.
Cut bait and say, let's
like
start
James
over.
Bond.
Kind of like James Bond. Let's just start over completely, and we'll put the 13 regenerations in there. We'll focus on that as a storyline. Do you think that could ever be a possibility for Who? Because it's getting convoluted, getting very convoluted.
I think anything running that long is going to get totally convoluted. You're not wrong.
60 years almost.
I'm going to say no, because one of the beauties, as with Bond, they do, if it's done properly, and if you look at the last couple of Bond films in particular, they had touched on the history. I don't know anybody has seen No Time to Die yet.
It's great.
And how that touches on Her Majesty's Secret Service. And so it can be done properly. And, Russell T. Davies managed it when he brought back Cybermen, Sontarans, Daleks, that sort of thing, and talked about the previous regenerations. And, he did that. And then Moffat even did it to a certain degree. I mean, Moffat still, he brought out the ultimate in fan service on Day of the Doctor when Tom Baker turns up.
Yeah.
I mean, that is they're capable of doing it. The problem is this time is that we've had the Timeless Child was written by what I like to think of as the petulant child, the fanboy who's gone in with, well, I like this, and I'm going to push this out here, but I don't like that, so I'm going to hit this, and I've got this agenda to push, so I'm going to go boom, 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 and this was wrong, and this was wrong, and that was right, and this was, and they just create this monstrous mess.
Sure.
So I don't think they're going to retcon. I think we might never hear about the Timeless Child.
Okay.
Ever again. Much like we never heard about Romana, we never heard about a lot of the previous. We saw Sarah Jane. Well, I'm totally spacing here on the female enemy of the Doctor, who's a time lord or a time lady. You know who I'm talking about.
Yes. Fans always think that the next
is going to
be her.
Yeah.
Yes, everybody's going to Google now like crazy.
Yeah,
so
we're all quickly Google.
Yeah, everybody will tell us. But I mean, I have an excuse.
I don't. I have an excuse too. I just came from surgery, so
exactly,
Sean, it's on you.
I'm on it.
Yeah, come on.
Sorry,
the Rani. There you go, the Rani.
There you go.
And this is why I've said for the longest time the Rani needs her, her own series. Mm-hmm. Let's roll back the Master to Missy.
So
she really grew on me.
Then maybe instead of a full reboot, maybe this is where the other series can come in.
But counterpoint, really quick. We are now in this sort of cultural acceptance, and Marvel is about to blow it wide open of multiverses, right?
Yep.
And it is becoming an everyday part of the lexicon. It's not just a nerd thing anymore and a super geek culture thing. It's an intriguing thought that I think even a couple of years ago I wouldn't have liked, but if they're going to do it, they could do it now. And they would just have to go plunk, whole different universe, whole different Doctor, start fresh. It's not that difficult to comprehend, given the metaverse and the multiverse and all this stuff that we're seeing across all these different shows. I don't think they have to. I like the idea of keeping the continuity is and just wiping out this nonsense Timeless Child stuff. But I don't hate it as much as I probably would have a year or two ago. I could totally see it. I could see a fresh start. It's not that hard to imagine and just say that it's a different universe.
Right.
And then who knows? Your big crossover stuff, you can still do anniversary things, and then suddenly your big crossover stuff is pulling the universe doctor in, and the doctors meet, and it's the whole thing. So
yeah.
I think the problem I have is that there's so many good things about the previous 60 years.
Oh yeah.
That you throw those out. I wouldn't want to throw out the Rosa Parks episode. I wouldn't want to throw out a couple of the other, a couple of the other episodes. I mean, there's probably there is a bunch of episodes before Chibnall. I mean, the Capaldi era had some really good episodes. Every single one has, all the way back to the very beginning, and to throw all those out, I think. The problem with the Doctor, and this may be the way that they're going to go now, that the next season may be more special oriented, where it's a 60 or 90-minute special, as opposed to a whole season of 60 every time, because they can get a bigger star, they can get a better, a bigger actor or whatever to be the Doctor, because if they commit to a fall and a spring and a Christmas. That might be eminently doable, and that might be a way to tell more focused stories that aren't constrained by a 55-minute time runtime, and we can actually get bigger, better stories. Yes, they could overarch every year. They could tie in. I mean, they've tried it before with Bad Wolf. There's been the End of Time. With the drums, at the end of the Tennant era, so that they've done it before. Ironically, Russell T Davies has done it more than a few times. So I think they're capable of doing it. I'm against a full-on retcon. I'm against a full-on. I'd rather sort of like let's cherry pick the best, and then let's talk about like that cousin. That everybody has, who smells kind of funny and picks their nose at Thanksgiving. Let's just push them off to the side, acknowledge that they're still around, send them a Christmas card, but not involve them in the day.
So let's say he was adopted and it was never in the bloodline and it never happened.
There you go. Yeah. No, well, you could. That's right. You could also do something like what the new Spider-Man movie is doing, which is No Way Home, which. It looks like they are going to be bouncing across multiverses, but you can have a Doctor Strange-like character that says, okay, Doctor, which of your realities do you want to keep? What memories do you want to keep? And what do you want to wipe away? And you could have a character that's so powerful come in and say, okay, I am scalpeling away these things that weren't good. Timeless Child, Midnight, the moon being an egg. All that stuff doesn't exist.
Robot of Sherwood.
Yeah, only these things are good, and these exist. And you could have a character that's all powerful that does that, and then you continue so it's sort of a soft reboot, but not necessarily a full reboot.
To be clear, I'm with Marcus. I would much rather this continue, and then they just wipe away this timeless stuff. Just like.
And let's face it, who's better than doing that than Russell T Davies?
Sure.
We have the Doctor's daughter, and then we never saw her again. Honestly, she went off and married David Tennant and had 6 kids with him, but we've never seen her again. So, I mean, Russell T Davies is probably like, all right, this time let's child thing. All right, yep, that's done. This whole, Yaz, okay, yeah, you're gone. We're not bringing you back ever again. Every single bad guy who's been in these 3 years, no, we're not going to explore that. It's like, oh, you did this in the universe and reshaped it. No, you're off. We're not following that one. Because that's what RTD does.
Yep.
Bring the Time Lords back. I would love to see him explore the time. I mean, we should have a whole episode dedicated to what we'd like to see him do. But
he never got to do it, did he? He never got to do it, and now Chibnall's gone and friggin' destroyed them again. I mean, remember when Moffat set it all up that we were going to see the Time Lords, and they were out there after Day of the Doctor, and the Doctor was going to go find them, and we didn't see them again until the Doctor burst his way out of that, that big thick glass thing that he punched 1 billion times.
Right.
And then he told them all, like, up your bum, I'm out. And then the next thing we know, they're all destroyed.
Moffat, he acknowledged that him and Davies had created this sort of. They had told the stories they were going to tell with the Time War, right? And the PTSD doctor and the grief doctor and all that stuff. So he reset the sandbox, and he said, "Okay, here you go, Chips. Like, do whatever you want. They're back in play. It's a reset field. Go explore this if you want to. You don't have to do anything with them. Here you go. It's the last 10 years. Me and Rusty David go nuts." Yep. And Chip's like, "Cool. I love RTD. Moffat, your stuff sucks. I'm never going to acknowledge it, and I'm going to instantly undo everything you just did."
Yeah, I'm going to find the sandcastle and kick it over.
Yes. There you go.
Oh, Missy Master never happened. Capaldi never happened. Like it's just like, oh my god. But anyway, yes. But anyway, I think. I don't know. I've found more and more television now is at its best when it's doing the serialized storytelling, where it's going episode to episode to episode, telling one story over 5 or 10 or 12 episodes in a season. And I've really been intrigued by the idea of Doctor Who doing it in a modern way, because like Marcus and you were saying, we haven't really seen this since the old days and the 13 or the 20 or what was it, 26 episode season, right? Like, so I was always curious if how Moffat would do it. He experimented with like the 1-2 and then the 1-2 and then the 1-2 and then there was this big thing the whole time. You didn't know it until the last two. I hope that this brings out the version of Chibnall that people liked on Broadchurch and some other stuff. Like this guy has the goods in there somewhere. He just hasn't done anything with them on Doctor Who. Yeah. So maybe a contained 6-episode season telling the same story throughout. It would be great if this was solid and it was a chance for him to go, this is why they gave me the job in the first place. So
I agree. Well, we got 5 more episodes of this season to find out, and then 3 specials going forward before we get our regeneration. We will be here after every single one of these episodes to guide you through this, the murky flux. What the flux? I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Murky flux.
The murky flux. Out of
we should call that. This episode should be episode 1, the murky flux, and then every week we should have that. We should somehow flux it up.
Yeah, and then by the time we get to the end of the season and we hate it, it'll be the acid reflux.
Oh, beautiful! See, there
flux
we go.
Me, flux you.
Yeah.
Oh goodness.
No flux left to give.
No flux left to give. Well, you know what? There we go. I was going to say how we should rate this episode, but I think you guys just did it by giving all these flux related.
This is we've had a lot of times where we've said, not just in Chibi, but like we've said, we're gonna have to see how it plays out. Like, let's see, Moffat has queued up stuff. Let's see how it plays out. This is probably the epitome of let's see how it plays out. Like, I don't know that I can. Yeah. I don't know that we should give this 1 episode a rating, because it is so obviously queuing up 5 more hours of television. And that's if they stop it here, like Marcus was saying. Maybe they bring it into New Year's. Maybe they bring it into Easter. Maybe her specials are I don't know. I'm it was messy but fun and solid. So cautious optimism from me, but I don't think I'm going to rate it. I'm going to give it a what the flux. What the flux.
What the flux. There you go.
I am waiting for Doc Brown and Marty McFly to turn up in the flux capacitor.
Beautiful.
And the DeLorean must chase the TARDIS through time and space with Einstein the dog. I don't think we should rate. I think we should actually, if they want to treat it as a 6-episode arc, we should probably do that. We should pay them that level of respect and say we will rate you at the end. But if you mess up, oh boy, you are totally fluxed.
So we're either going to have totally fluxed or a royal flux, and we'll find that out in about 5 more weeks here.
Unfluxed, unbelievable,
gentlemen. Thank you again so much. It's so great to chat with you guys, my brothers. I'm hugging you guys. Look at this. This is a hug. Somehow there you go. I'm learning with these cameras. You can find me at Dolly Domovsky. You can find Sean at Sean Norton.
On that wonderful, totally happy, never bad website.
Never bad place.
Twitter.com at Sean Norton, SHAUNNORTON.
Marcus, where may we find you?
On Twitter at Annoyed Gamer, and you can also find the streaming show that I've been doing on YouTube and Twitter and Twitch since the start of the year. It's on Twitch. It's twitch.tv/IamBeer. And on YouTube, it's youtube.com/Marcus Beer. And there's
Excellent.
probably about 40 or so episodes already up of just me ranting, going live every week and just talking and about stuff and shit.
Love it. Stuff and
yeah.
shit. That's good
That's
stuff.
what I do.
You can find us at Lonely TARDIS on YouTube, on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play. We're all over the place. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you on the next episode of The Lonely TARDIS.
Bye-bye.